Welcome to this special show on NDTV Profit. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. Now, exit polls are fraught with danger. So while this show is to talk about the many exit polls which are out for the state elections of Jharkhand and Maharashtra, and we will go through it, we will give you the poll of polls. Remember, they come with a huge disclaimer. Exit polls have been proven wrong more than right for the last few major elections, starting from the Lok Sabha, Haryana polls, let me also count the US elections, and now Maharashtra and Jharkhand, so which is why we won't take the risk of saying that these are the final numbers. But this is the poll of poll numbers we have right now from all major polls. It's looking like the Mahayuti could get a majority in this election. But let's talk a bit about the election in Maharashtra. It's an election that has got even the most jaded and veteran political pundits floundering. It's a no-holds-barred, do-or-die battle in Maharashtra as one political drama after another unfolded over the past 5 years. Alliances changed shapes multiple times, actually very tough to track. Chief ministers were forced to resign and parties were splintered into many factions. Fresh from a surprise win in Haryana, the BJP is holding to retain power along with partners Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena and Ajit Pawar's NCP. Excited by the results of the Lok Sabha elections earlier this year, in which they won double the seats of the Mahayuti, the opposition alliance called the Mahavikas Aghadi in Maharashtra is banking on anti-incumbency and sympathy for the betrayal, as they call it, of Uddhav Thackeray and Sharad Pawar. So, if you were a writer of a fictional story, you'd find it difficult to write this kind of a story, where there is uncle, nephew on one side, there is, a complete split. The Shiv Sena is no longer with a Thackeray, they have a different faction. It's all sorts of drama going on. So, which is why it's very difficult but very exciting to see what happens in Maharashtra. Difficult to predict. Let's talk a bit about Jharkhand. The Congress and the Hemant Soren-led Jharkhand Mukti Morcha are fighting to hold on to power. This after Hemant Soren went to jail for 5 months over an alleged land scam and was out on bail barely 4 months ago. The hot issue picked up by the NDA here is that of illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. A provocative advertisement by the BJP was ordered to be taken down by the Election Commission. So, it's in a sense BJP versus opposition fight in both states, which will have some impact on how the centre's hold is also perceived. This is why this is important. And also look at the kind of issues that have been talked about. I think the other important thing to look at in these sets of elections is how freebies have become front and center. Now, call it freebies, call it doles, call it whatever you may, but the fact is that telling voters that they will get cash handouts at a regular interval has become a huge push for every political party. Look at the latest poll of polls numbers that we're bringing you. So, the Mahayuti or the NDA in Maharashtra could get 154 seats. Remember, 145 is the halfway mark. The Mahavikas Aghadi or the India Alliance could get 122. The others are 12. This come, of course, with their set of corrections that could take place. So, which means there is a case you could see a hung assembly as well. But as of now, the Mahayuti seems to have an edge. As far as Jharkhand is concerned, the UPA is pipped to get 38, the NDA 29, and others are pipped to get 4 from a total of 81 seats. The figure I'm seeing there is 39, but here it's 29. So, we'll have to wait and see how that really pans out. But meanwhile, let's talk about what the big issues are in this election. Anand Mishra, political editor of The Frontline, with us on the show. Purnima Joshi is with us. She's the Delhi Bureau Chief of the Hindu Business Line. Welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us today. Let's get the political view and the political pundit view first. Purnima, I'll come to you. As you're looking at what's happening in the Maharashtra elections, is it becoming now an issue or a fight for survival for key political leaders? At the end of this, by Saturday evening, we'll know what the future holds, for example, for an Uddhav Thackeray, a Sharad Pawar, an Eknath Shinde, an Ajit Pawar, even a Devendra Fadnavis. this is a crucial, crucial election for them on a personal level, isn't it?
Yeah. So, if they don't, this is the first election they're fighting after the parties have been, first assembly election, that is, both Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray, after their parties have been split. So, Sharad Pawar, if you look at him, he's contesting 87 or so odd seats. And in this election, you see even his wife campaigning, his daughter campaigning, the entire family behind him, and he himself is addressing rallies across. So if you travel to Marathwada or Western Maharashtra, like I did, uh, you see a different picture in a city like Pune, where the BJP is quite strong. But you step out, even in a place like Baramati, where Ajit Pawar himself is contesting against the nephew, you see a major contest there. So I also saw a sort of a urban-rural divide in Maharashtra, where the urban issues are different from the rural areas, particularly uh, in areas like Marathwada and Vidarbha, where you can sense the farm rural distress. There is a lot of anger I saw on the ground on issues like soya bean prices, which have fallen, and the procurement is not happening. And across 12 districts of Vidarbha and Marathwada, this is a very, very big issue. Then there have been a lot of lapses by the state government, which delayed crushing of the sugarcane season, because of which about 12 lakh workers who are engaged in sugarcane pressing. And I would have you know that these are workers largely from the community of Gopinath Munde and Pankaja Munde, who framed the sort of largely OBC vote bank of the BJP. They have migrated out of the state to Karnataka, where sugarcane pressing is actually happening right now. So these were cotton prices again, was an issue. So these were issues in the rural areas. Whereas you see in urban pockets like Pune or even in Bombay, there's a lot of money, muscle, Hindutva, all of that. Then
Purnima, are you feeling confident from what your reporters are telling you, what you've seen on the ground, on whether there's a clear mandate that we'll see on the 23rd, or is it closer than people think?
One can never be sure about Maharashtra. I will not make a prediction about Maharashtra because it's a huge state, and I feel that all the 288 constituencies are being fought on different candidate muscle, different issues. You have these 5, 6 regions. Bombay with its 38, 36 seats has very different issues in each pocket. You have a constituency like Dharavi, where people are talking about the Adani redevelopment project and how it's going to impact. But if you go to a constituency like Kolaba, where the BJP seems quite happily placed, it's a different issue. So I will not make a prediction about Maharashtra. And
That's wise. That's wise not to make a prediction about Maharashtra. And we'll refrain from making predictions, but we need to talk about why this is so important. And I want to welcome Ajay Bagga as well. We're looking at this today from the political point of view, from what this means for policy push as well, I would say. Because if politics of the country are not clear, if it gets very competitive, it does impact the kind of policy push you see from the center. And of course, markets are also watching this closely. Ajay, I suspect tomorrow morning, exit polls will be fighting for attention from, whether Putin is going to unleash a nuclear war. So unfortunately, we're right now at a very tough time. But just talking about the elections per se, how crucial is this for markets which have been completely sideways And if there is a clear win from the Mahayuti, as the exit polls seem to be predicting, will it be seen as a positive in trade tomorrow? First of all, will these polls be taken seriously?
No, I think Tamanna, your leaders in the editorial, they summed up everything. I didn't have much more to add. I think there are much more wiser people sitting on the panel than me. All I would say, these polls will have to be called on Saturday afternoon or late afternoon. We won't be able to get clarity. Assembly polls, the differences are very small. And with now six parties, six major parties in the alliance, plus you throw in a couple of others and independents, it's very difficult. I don't think any exit poll can have any accuracy. And then the hypothetical bias, when you have 65, 64% voting patterns, 2 or 3% of voters who are committed don't go and vote can change the outcome. So I would say it's not a landslide. There is no trend per se. There is a trend against poor governance and people getting voted on one platform and then forming parties on another platform. But voters have become cynical in that sense, and especially Bombay, where I come from. We have seen infrastructure development just going on interminably with very little in terms of comfort coming to the population. And you have seen the very poor turnout in Bombay. That is very sad, but maybe it's reflective of
It's
people's disillusionment. And you had that a line already in your editorial. That's why I said I have very little to
no,
contribute.
Ajay, you are being modest as always. The kind of insights you bring is just, you have your finger on the pulse of what the markets are thinking. Just on low voter turnout, yes, once again, miserable voter turnout in Mumbai. I mean, I went out and voted. I hope most of our viewers from Bombay did as well. But the fact is that what really are Mumbai voters getting? And none better to speak on that than Shaina NC. Shaina NC in her first election. Shaina, I don't know what the outcome will be. Since we've known each other for so long, I obviously wish you the best for the 23rd as well. But she is the candidate from Mumbai Devi. And in the electoral battle, of course, been with politics for years. But Shaina, I want to first ask you, how was your experience as a candidate? I mean, of course, you were an astute political worker. You know your party and your area, but this time you're not just a voter. You're a candidate. How was that as a different experience?
So, Tamanna, I just want to briefly correct you. I fought my first election in 2004 from Bandra West with the Bharatiya Janata Party, and that time I was clearly a novice. I didn't know how to fight an election there, and I remember people rubbished me off and said that, oh, she's lost an election and she only knows how to wear saris and doesn't know how to fight an election. But that's a stereotypical notion that most people have in public life for women. Having said that, 20 years down, having fought Mumbai Devi, which is probably the toughest constituency in Maharashtra, where you have 140,000 Muslim voters and 1 lakh Hindu voters. And obviously, I'd like to thank Honorable Prime Minister as well as Eknath Shinde ji, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, for giving me this opportunity and for letting Ladki Behan fight valiantly to ensure that the people of Mumbai Devi have some respite and are given the opportunity to better their lives, better their infrastructure, and better the kind of performance. You had a 3-time MLA who has not done much for the constituency, and as a South Mumbaiker and as somebody who lives in Mumbai, I would only want to say that it's unfortunate that you have this kind of disparity where in so many parts of Mumbai, and especially South Mumbai.
No, one minute, Shaina, I stand corrected. But you are right, 2004, 20 years later, you're no longer a political novice. I don't think anyone will come and say Shaina NC only knows how to wear saris, though you do that beautifully. And you're right, it's a tough battle. Now, you mentioned Amin Patel, your contender, your biggest challenger is a 3-time MLA. Mumba Devi, your constituency, has a large Muslim population. Did you reach out at all to Muslim voters, or have you focused and concentrated? I'm asking because this batenge to katenge and all of this which was going on before the election, was this part of your campaign in Mumba Devi, Shaina?
So I reached out to every section of society, and let me please say that I don't believe in divisive politics. I believe in performing in politics. But having said that, my opposition only chose to do vote bank politics and, as we say, tushtikaran ki rajniti. But I'm not here to sit and comment on that. I reached out to every segment, every section. And yes, Chief Minister's Ladki Behna Yojana did help to a great extent, because out of the 2.5 crore women in Maharashtra who got 7,500 in their bank accounts, if you take a constituency like Mumba Devi, there are 40,000 Ladki Behnas, of which 15,000 are Muslim women. So they all have rallied for the entire process of being empowered, and not just empowered, with the opportunity to be in a better space than where they were. So I think that all sections of society have accepted me, and we will be able to pull off a historic victory on the 23rd.
You do, since I'm speaking to you as candidate, Shaina, if you win, what will you do to improve traffic jams, water woes, and some basic infra issues in your constituency? What is the one big promise you have for the people of Mumba Devi?
So I want to just say 3 things. One, in 15 years, there has really been no kind of development. And why do I say this, Tamanna? Not just to critique, but there has been no cluster redevelopment other than the SBUT, which is a project of the Boras in the area. If you take Kamatipura as an area, people are packed as sardines. There is no place for them to live, no place for them to have any amenities. The one hospital in the 10th lane of Kamatipura was even shut down, which was a maternity ward. The first lane, they had an eye hospital, that's also closed down. So there's been no development at all, like no new hospital, school, library. Open space to dur ki baat, because there is no open space. And if you look at the cluster redevelopment that is required for a place like Kamatipura, even the proposals haven't even been submitted in 15 years. You have the same story at BIT Chawl, same story at Umarkhadi, same story at Kumbharwada. And the sad part is people have just voted for the Congress based on a community and a vote bank that stays downtrodden and has never been empowered. So whether it's the Muslims or the Dalits, they have only been viewed for their facilitating of votes. So I choose to fight all of this. When we talk about women, I feel so sad when I went today to the polling booths in Dongri and Bindi Bazaar, where women don't even have the basic facility of clean water. There's sewage water all over the place. There's filth all over the place. There's no kind of hygiene, no parking place, because there's so many traffic issues and there's so much illegal construction. How did this come up in the first place? This only happened with the insulation of the MLA, and the MLA who chose to have
change. Shaina, what is the one big thing you will change? And do you think that this election is going to have a far-reaching impact on a lot of political leaders in the state of Maharashtra?
Most definitely, because I believe that, you can't go piecemeal here. It has to be a whole blueprint. That whole blueprint has to be mapped very particularly and very cleverly, where each area is given the kind of indication of what needs to happen by technocrats, bureaucrats, and city planners, because everything is a mess. So you need to start from zero and work upwards. If you ask me for women, it's clearly healthcare and education, because even for our Muslim sisters who really don't understand how they're being taken for a ride, they only vote on the basis of community and calm, as we call it. I want them to vote on the basis of calm instead. So no calm only.
Okay, calm only, says Shaina NC. We'll wait and see. I mean, it's just amazing what candidates say, then the question is what they really do. But having said that, Shaina, looking forward to what happens on the 23rd. And of course, best of luck to you and all of the candidates there. So Shaina NC, on a Shiv Sena ticket from the Mahayuti in Mumbai Devi, and it's an interesting choice of candidate in a Muslim dominated seat where Amin Patel from the Congress has won the last 3 assembly elections. You know, and I think that's one point I want to come to as well. Let me come to Mr. Mishra on this. Candidate choice. Anand Mishra, at the end of the day, while we tend to look at elections and then the outcome in very broad brush terms, you know, as journalists we're always hunting for the headline. For those who are fighting elections, it is about every seat, every candidate and the dynamic of that election. Looking at it from that context, who do you think has done a better job of candidate selection, the Mahayuti or the MVA?
Tamanna, in fact, you see the Maharashtra election this time has all the ingredients of a Bollywood potboiler. So the kind of things that are happening here, this will determine the course of future politics of a number of senior leaders, top leaders. And if you go at the level of grassroots, in fact, the Maharashtra election is a multi-strand election. It's not one election. In a way, it is really a Maha election where things are really being fought at the grassroots. So I believe that this Mahayuti leaders, BJP-led Mahayuti has started preparation well in advance, and there was kind of a more cohesion and more discipline in political decision making at their level. So they will have an advantage of it. Apart from this, I was just hearing to Shaina, and she was talking about the women leadership issue. So I believe that Maharashtra election will once again attest to this power of women leadership. Like we had seen in Madhya Pradesh, Lali Bahana Yojana, the kind of results it delivered to Shivraj Singh Chauhan, or you can see its replay in Jharkhand, Maiya Saman Yojana, coming to the aid of Hemant Soren despite so some problems there, or despite a very polarized campaign by the BJP. Similarly, Ladki Bahin Yojana will have its impact in Maharashtra. There is no doubt about that. And mind it, in Maharashtra, a lot of regional strong leaders are there. There is no pan Maharashtra leader right now. If you know Mr. Sharad Pawar, who is aging, and there is a family fight in NCP backyard. So all the parties split into two. But I think this election will be different from other elections in this one aspect, that there is no single state stand. Lot of small leaders in different places. Nana Patole is powerful in one particular area.
Yeah.
Eknath Shinde has some area of influence. Then Mr. Devendra Fadnavis.
I agree. They all have their strongholds. They all have their strongholds, which is why it's been a tough state for the BJP to crack. Despite being the single largest party in the last 2 assembly elections, it has been tough. Feroz Aziz also with us this evening. Feroz, thank you so much for joining us, and great to have you here, because you know what we're trying to do is also getting a sense of how markets are looking at it, how Mumbaikars of all types are looking at it. I mean, you're also a citizen of this city, and you also, I'm sure, have expectations from whichever the next government is. But for markets, is Maharashtra elections going to be a big boost if the poll predictions right now are correct? Will it be a negative if they're not, or is it a non-story in that sense when we're already through so much turmoil?
Tamanna, good evening, and I think from a capital market standpoint, I would say this will be a non-event. If you look at the last 4 Maharashtra elections, so I generally reflect on data to see the odds of something happening and being an event. If you look at the last 4 Maharashtra assembly elections and its results, the markets have hardly moved. There were 2 of those dates, which is 2004 and 2009, 2014 and 2019. Now we are sitting on the 5th one in this century. You've seen that the result counting day has been a non-working day for 2 times, and 2 times it's been a working day. So subsequent movement, the movement in the market maximum has been 1.3%, which is almost business as usual. The reason why Maharashtra assembly elections have not been a very important capital market event is because of they being subsequent to the general election. Most often than not, these assembly elections have happened in October, November of the year, where general election has just passed by, like this year as well. The counting of the general elections happened on 4th of June. So that's one reason why it has been a non-event. Now, if you look at the 3rd December...
Feroz, having said that, The reason I'm asking, the reason you and Ajay are here today, because look at what has happened in the markets post polls with both the general elections and Haryana. And then what happened on counting day? The wild swings have been traumatic for anyone in the markets for sure. So, I mean, I don't know. When you're saying this is a non-event, do you really think we're going to be seeing no impact? I'm not very sure, Firoz.
No, Tamanna, see, there is no impact, by which I mean, see, when you look at the volatility post-COVID, which in Nifty has seen, in volatility percentage terms, sorry, pardon me that I'm getting technical, 18.5% is the standard deviation Nifty has expressed, which implies a 0.9% average movement per day. So if there is a 1.3% movement on a 0.9 base, I would say that's why it's not a significant event, point one. Point two, of course, the general election market swung on exit poll. Exit polls took the market up, and the actual results brought it back down because the FII short positions were very, very extreme in the index futures. It was almost 88% a day before, which was 4th June ke preceding periods. So there were extreme speculation on a negative sentiment from the index futures side on the FII. So there was a lot of shorted leverage, which resulted in the volatility when FIIs got caught a little off guard on the exit polls. You're absolutely right. Anything could happen in capital markets.
Yeah.
I was just relying on the data.
Okay. So, yeah, anything can happen in the long term. Everything becomes, even Stevens when it comes to capital markets. But I guess this is going to be, I would say maybe a bigger issue on the 25th for the capital markets rather than tomorrow, because exit polls have been sort of, sidelined in that sense. No one's really taking them too seriously. Tejas Mehta, glad to have you on, even though it was the fag end of the show. But a quick word from you. If we keep exit polls to a side, because really one doesn't know. Right now they're showing that the Mahayuti is ahead. For Maharashtra and for the NDA, what would it mean if they did indeed come back with clear terms in a state where so much has happened in the last 5 years?
I mean, once again, they must thank Rahul Gandhi. This was one election where he didn't have to take onus for anything, actually. There was Sharad Pawar there was Uddhav Thackeray, who had more stakes than the Congress ever had. But where did you see the family, the leaders of the Congress itself? So I think this is the entirely missed opportunity, because if you look at the data coming out at this point, as far as the polls are concerned, the BJP has done better than what it did in the Lok Sabha elections as far as Vidarbha is concerned, where you have rural distress, where you have agricultural distress, where they are asking for more MSP for soybean and many other issues. The BJP has not been able to do as well in Marathwada as far as the polls, exit polls are concerned, but that was probably expected in a sense. But I mean, think of it, if Rahul Gandhi and the entire team was right there, I mean, every day, then, I mean, they would have actually, this was an easy election to win in that sense compared to many other. I mean, Haryana was also easy. But I think
that this election is not going to be won and lost on Rahul Gandhi. This is about Maharashtra's strongmen. This is about the Pawars. This is about the Thackeray's. This is about Devendra Fadnavis.
I think the Ladki Behna scheme, I think we underestimate the power of it, and we should carefully look at what, in fact, all political parties just now are looking at how women have come out to vote. They want to find out, have more come out or less come out. That is going to be a key factor.
No, I think the trends we've been seeing in the last few elections, women voters, cash schemes focused on women voters, and then also an understanding of economically for some part of the populace, it's been very tough, and these cash schemes have become important. That's also, I would say, a statement of what is happening in our economy right now. But I have run out of time. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us on this show. We'll wait and see, of course, what happens with the election results. But I hope the show has given you a sense of how important the Maharashtra and, of course, Jharkhand polls are. But as we wrap up, just to play out for you, because at the end of the day, it's an election which is happening in Mumbai and Bollywood comes out to vote. Hear what they had to say.
Well, I think let's forget the issues, and right now it's voting day and it's your birthright. ये आपका फर्ज है to come and vote. So please vote.